Coming in at number 10, we have Jack Rogers, Steve Rogers' descendant from the year 2314. In an alternate future where a diluted version of the Captain America Super Soldier Serum is regularly given to everyone on Earth, a father named Jack Rogers from Steve Rogers' original bloodline is stunned to discover that the Kree Empire has been altering the serum and using it to enact control over humanity. Without any superpowers of his own, Jack Rogers definitely won't rank high on any list of powerful characters, but his willingness to grab the shield of his ancestor and stand up for what's right definitely earns him an honorable mention on this list. Coming in at number 9, we have Aaron Fisher, another example that doesn't quite have any superpowers of his own and isn't a direct child of Steve Rogers, but still earns a spot on the list due to continuing Captain America's legacy. Kicked out into the streets of Las Vegas as a vagabond following his father's discovery that he was gay, Aaron became a symbol to the homeless and disenfranchised teens of the city as he used a makeshift shield and the imagery of Captain America to fight back against the corrupted corporation Roxxon, becoming a part of a whole network of captains across the country standing up for what is right. Coming in at number 8, we have James Rogers, the alternate universe son of Captain America and Black Widow. In a future where Ultron had wiped out most of the other Avengers, Tony Stark taught a new generation of heroes from within a secret army base in the Arctic. Wielding an energy-based version of the original Captain America's shield, James Rogers led the next Avengers team after Ultron discovered their location and captured Tony, alongside unleashing an army of mechanical replacements for all of the original Avengers. And honestly, there's not many more definitive ways to show you're worthy of being the next Captain America than defeating a robot version of the original Captain America. Coming in at number 7, we have ELLIE Rogers, a potential future daughter of Steve Rogers and Sharon Carter. In a world where the symbiote villain Venom had allied with members of Hydra, ELLIE Rogers was a young resistance member fighting against this symbiote-powered evil regime. Infected by the symbiotes during their final assault on a resistance stronghold, ELLIE used her new powers to help aid other superpowered visitors from the multiverse against the new Hydra Empire. With all of the strengths of Venom combined with the heroism of Steve Rogers, ELLIE was definitely a wild combination of both hero and villain. Coming in at number 6, we have Steve Rogers V, aka Commander America. In the alternate future of the 22nd century, the 5th generation of Captain America is the leader of the Cosmic Avengers, and the result of generations worth of scientific tinkering to create the perfect recreation of the original Captain America. With the exact powers of the original Steve Rogers, this Commander America was an essential hero in the final battle against the Kree and Skrull empires as they set to invade Earth, and even wound up teaming up with the original Guardians of the Galaxy back when they were a team from the Marvel Universe's future. With all of these cosmic additions alongside a higher rank to boot, this version of Steve Rogers is definitely one to keep an eye on. Coming in at number 5, we've got Danielle Cage, a potential Captain America of the future. The grown-up child of both Jessica Jones and Luke Cage on Earth 15061, Danielle might not be literally related to Captain America, but has nonetheless taken up the heroic mantle in a Manhattan where climate change makes flooding incredibly frequent and gangs roam the streets. With her own arch nemesis in the form of the Golden Skull, because obviously we need to up the ante from just red, Danielle Cage is also one of the physically strongest Captain Americas throughout the multiverse, inheriting both the strength-based power sets of her parents and letting her throw that red and blue shield as hard as it's ever been thrown before. Coming in at number 4, we have Ian Rogers, aka the New Nomad. Following a misadventure that saw Captain America stuck within the mysterious Dimension Z, Steve Rogers wound up finding an infant boy within this dangerous environment. Actually the son of his villain Arnim Zola, Cap wound up raising the boy in Dimension Z for what felt like 11 years, becoming an adoptive father to the rapidly aging boy. While Steve would eventually leave Dimension Z, Ian chose to stay behind as its defender, adopting one of Steve Rogers' previous superhero superhero names of Nomad to fight back against Zola's other creations that had taken over the entirety of Dimension Z. And given that Ian has since reappeared a few times visiting the main Marvel universe, this is one of the few occasions where Steve and one of his possible kids wind up having a somewhat actual happy ending. Coming in at number 3, we have SHARON Rogers from the mobile game Marvel Future Fight. In an alternate universe where Captain America was never frozen in ice at the end of the Second World War, Steve Rogers and Agent Peggy Carter helped win the war and celebrated V-Day with a private marriage ceremony. Decades later, with the two heroes since having retired, their daughter SHARON now wields both Captain America's shield and a futuristic energy lance, continuing her parents' battle for peace and justice across the world. Coming in at number 2, we have the Ultimate Universe version of the Red Skull. That's right, in the notably darker and edgier Ultimate Universe, Captain America's deadliest and most iconic foe is none other than his own son. Conceived during his last night with his World War II era girlfriend, Gail Richards, the Red Skull was completely unknown about by this version of Steve Rogers. Born after his father was frozen in ice, the baby was taken in by the military and grew up in foster care. Growing up with an inferiority complex, this child would eventually scar himself and break free from his government holdings, becoming the criminal mastermind known as the Red Skull and sowing chaos throughout the world as a professional assassin, even being behind this universe's version of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Sounds like you've got some family issues to work out here, Steve. And finally, coming in at our top spot, we have Sarah Rogers, the daughter of Captain America and Rogue, one of the most famous members of the X-Men. In an alternate what-if reality where the heroes and villains of the Marvel Universe never left the combined planet of Battleworld, many of the characters have settled down and decided to call a truce. When the son of Victor Von Doom begins to enact a plan to return to Earth and conquer it, however, Steve and Rogue's daughter Sarah has no choice but to embrace her heroic heritage and launch a resistance against Doom's son, rallying other heroes by being the first hero in a generation to be able to lift the magical hammer, Mjolnir. With Thor's weapon, the strength of Steve Rogers, and Rogue's ability to fly, Sarah Rogers just might be the most powerful child of Captain America. Coming in at number 10, we have Behemoth, an evil clone of the Hulk. Created through the scheming of the villainous Master of the World, an enlightened caveman of a villain who usually fights against the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight, this clone was named Behemoth when he was sent along with several other cloned heroes to fight the Heroes for Hire. And while any clone of the Incredible Hulk is obviously going to be a bit intimidating, this clone luckily wasn't long for this world, surviving just a single issue before the Heroes for Hire defeated him by blowing up the entire island they were fighting on. Then again, if you're fighting the Hulk, that's probably the least messy ending you're likely to get. Coming in at number 9, we have Daydream. Now, this entry might be more of an honorable mention, as it's a bit unclear if Daydream was genetically tied to Bruce Banner at all, or just Betty Ross, but either way, she's definitely one of the weirdest daughters someone could have. Created by combining the mental energies of both Betty Ross and the Marvel villain known as Nightmare, Daydream is half human and half dream entity, capable of teleporting at will and reshaping the dreams and mental state of anyone around her, including the Incredible Hulk. Coming in at number 8, we have another technical Hulk daughter with Carmilla Black, aka the new Scorpion. A genetically engineered human created from the genetic material of Monica Rappaccini, the scientist supreme of AIM, and Bruce Banner. Carmilla has a scorpion stinger connected to her arm and a natural immunity to every poison in the world. While best known for serving with S.H.I.E.L.D. after discovering her origins were connected to the evil AIM, Carmilla has served with several different teams over the course of her career, and even if she might not be aware that she has some of Bruce Banner's DNA within her, she definitely is a green fighter the Hulk could be proud of. Coming in at number 7, we have the incredible KLUH. And just in case you can't tell from the text on screen, yes, that's just the Hulk spelled backwards. Created by the psychic villain Xemnu to be a superior clone to the original Grey Hulk, KLUH was far more intelligent than the usual Grey Hulk persona, at the cost of him being slightly less powerful than his original inspiration. KLUH was nearly able to kill both the Green and the Red Hulk with the help of Xemnu, but was eventually defeated whenever the hero Impossible Man, combined both red and green Hulks into the Compound Hulk, a more powerful gamma creature that was able to put down KLUH for good. Don't you just love a totally normal and not weird at all comic book ending? Coming in at number 6, we have hero KLUH. An infant son that the Hulk thought he had lost during the destruction of the planet Sakaar, Hero spent many years wandering the galaxy after he survived the explosion due to his mother's cocoon. Embracing the heritage of his mother's people, Hero converted their religion's old power into a new power by merging his psychic abilities with that of Galactus's power cosmic. While not green-skinned or as strong as his father, hero KLUH has continued to try and lead the Sakaaran people and find them a new suitable home amongst the stars. Coming in at number 5, we have the Nerd Hulk, an evil clone from the Ultimate Universe. Created from Bruce Banner's stem cells by the sociopathic brother of Tony Stark, Gregory, Nerd Hulk was intended to be the best of both worlds version of the Hulk, with all the strength and rage of his gamma form combined with the intellect and restraint of Bruce Banner. However, this had the downside of making the Hulk actually afraid of combat despite his strength, and for a long time he was considered a bit of a laughingstock until by chance he was bitten by the Ultimate Universe's version of a vampire. This combination of a vampire's bloodlust and the Hulk's strength finally made the vampire Nerd Hulk a worthy villain for the Ultimates, and was only able to be defeated when he was cleverly teleported across the world into sunlight by Captain America. Coming in at number 4, we have Bo Banner. In the alternate apocalyptic future that the Old Man Logan stories take place in, the Hulk name has fallen into ruin, as the Hulk Gang is a roaming band of cannibal hillbillies that are apparently the spawn of the Hulk and his own cousin, having gone insane after receiving too much additional radiation from this version of America's nuclear war. One of the leaders of this hillbilly gang is Bo Banner, who winds up killing Wolverine's family after they're late paying protection fees. And while Wolverine dispatches Bo in a gruesome use of C4 explosives, cannibal descendants of the Hulk are still a pretty nasty and powerful surprise to find in this dark alternate future. Coming in at number 3, we have LYRA from Earth 8009. Born from the genetic material of the Hulk and her mother Thundra, the leader of an alternate future in which a warrior clan of women have taken over the planet, LYRA was intended to be the perfect union of the strongest man and the strongest woman in existence. And while LYRA's gamma powers have the unfortunate setback of actually making her weaker as she gets angrier, LYRA still has one hell of a punch due to the combined genetics of her parents. Trained in combat with every sort of physical weaponry imaginable, LYRA has since become an ally and friend of Earth 616's She-Hulk and fights by her side as an occasional accomplice. Coming in at number 2, we have Bruce Banner Jr. The youngest child of the Hulk gang from the post-apocalyptic Old Man Logan future we introduced earlier in this list, Bruce Banner Jr. was first introduced as just an ugly Hulk baby, kinda looking a little bit like the Grinch. However, in a storyline set 500 years later, this Hulk baby has grown into a new, more heroic version of the Hulk villain Maestro, himself a completely different evil future version of Bruce Banner. Having overcome his horrific origins to become an intelligent and heroic leader, Bruce Banner Jr. would occasionally cross over into the main Marvel universe and is currently still looking for a new world to call his own. And finally, coming in at our top spot, we have Scar, the son of the Incredible Hulk and the older brother of hero KLUH. The offspring of the Hulk and Sierra the Old Strong, Scar's mother died so that he might live during the destruction of his planet, and eventually made his way back to Earth following in his father's footsteps. Calling himself the Killer of Killers, Scar has all of the strength of his father combined with the stone and magma manipulating power of his mother, and has walked the line between hero and anti-hero often enough that he was even Steve Rogers' double agent whenever Norman Osborn had taken over the Dark Avengers. No matter what situation he finds himself in, Scar will always be one of the strongest gamma beings in the entire Marvel Universe.
And at 10, Ultron 1320. Ultron 1320 comes to us from Earth 14622 and What If Age of Ultron number 1, an Earth where thanks to Wasp dying, Ultron is able to take over the world faster. Ultron was created to be the ultimate AI by Hank Pym to help the Avengers utilize their function better as a team. But with the untimely death of Pym's wife, Pym went on to create a more brutal version of Ultron, which was to replace the Avengers, which makes him technically the son of Hank Pym. So he's viable for this list, okay? But since he's a robot, I'm putting him at the top. Don't worry, that's why he's here. But with this, Ultron's sentience began to constantly evolve, and he started the eradication of the human race by taking out such threats as the Avengers and the Defenders while he left Pym alive to just watch everyone suffer. Ultron and his army of Ultron Sentinels then moved to KLUH, Russia, so he could bore himself into the planet's core to create the ultimate version of himself, Ultron 1320. Ultron then had his minions batter and beat Pym unconscious until he woke up to find himself turned into Ultron 1321. This version also invaded other worlds, claiming Earth 62412, 23223, and 81223, but before being stopped on Earth 45162. That's a lot of numbers. And at 9, Wiccan. Billy Kaplan, also known by his superhero aliases Asgardian and Wiccan, is a superpowered warlock and the reincarnated son of the Scarlet Witch. He has spent time on numerous superhero teams including the Young Avengers and the New Avengers, and after Wiccan's powers overloaded during a battle with the Sons of the Serpent, the Avengers decided to keep him under observation. HULKLING and the other Young Avengers broke Wiccan out of holding and began to search for the Scarlet Witch. Accompanied by Magneto and Quicksilver, the team traveled to Transia and then to Latveria before discovering a depowered and amnesiac Wanda engaged to Doctor Doom. The rediscovery of Wanda did not go unnoticed though, as the Avengers soon arrived on the scene. Iron Lad teleported the Young Avengers and Wanda into the time stream, and they all went into the past and met a reanimated Jack of Hearts who was about to explode. After that, Wanda remembered who she was, regained her powers, and returned herself, the Young Avengers, and Scott Lang to the present. She then finally confirmed that Billy and Tommy were indeed her reincarnated sons, a story that seemingly will be adapted into the MCU come Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And at 8, HULKLING. Teddy was one of the first people in the Avengers failsafe program, compiled by the Vision to be used as a form of new team of superheroes in the event of the destruction or the disbandment of the Avengers. Iron Lad, a younger version of Kang the Conqueror, found Teddy using the Vision's failsafe program and requested his help in preventing his future self from returning to the future. Teddy joined the Young Avengers and adopted the superhero identity of the HULKLING, despite actually being the son of Captain Marvel. He only took on the HULKLING identity to help keep in the theme of the Young Avengers being new versions of the original Avengers, using his powers to change his skin color to green. As well as these shape-shifting abilities comes the powers of flight, a healing factor, as well as superhuman stamina, durability, and strength. He also gains the ability of matter substitution when he and his husband Wiccan end up using their wedding rings together, which is kind of adorable, and goals. And at 7, Scotty Summers. Hailing from Earth 1298, Scotty is Alex Summers and Madeline Pryor's son. Scotty, as he came to be known, was born to the mutant superhero Havoc and his then girlfriend Madeline. Sometime after his birth, his mom and dad got married and they moved in with the reformed X-Factor. As a child, he showed no signs of exceptional power and enjoyed a normal life until the Inferno event. During Inferno, he was captured by a couple demons who planned to use him as a sacrifice to open up the world to the malevolent Goblin Force. Alone and afraid, he was rescued by his mother Madeline, who brokered a deal with the demons in exchange for her son's life. He returned home with her, and the demons and the nightmare it seemed were over. But when Havoc of Earth 616 wound up in his counterpart in the Mutant X's reality's dead body, Scott immediately recognized that this Havoc was not truly his father. This was the first hint at the scope of young Scotty's power. When his mother was possessed by the Goblin Queen, Scotty was also taken by his father and their nanny, the ninja assassin Elektra. The three became like a family themselves, and Scotty even bonded with his new father. Eventually, Scotty during the battle was captured along with Havoc by the evil entity, but he knew that he was in the right place at the right time, and incidentally knew exactly what to do to end the fight. With a simple touch, he managed to defeat the Goblin Queen, who was possessing his mother at the time. But yeah, it's pretty overpowered. I guess you could say that Scotty doesn't know about his powers. And at 6, Vision. The MCU Vision is in essence the son of Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, Ultron, and Thor, which is honestly a really weird combination. Or if you want to get more technical, I guess Thor and Ultron are closer to his parents, with like Tony and Bruce basically being his grandparents, aside from the whole using Jarvis to make Vision thing. So I guess technically, by that logic, Tony is also Vision's father and grandfather. What? Either way, powered by an advanced AI and the Mind Stone, Vision is probably one of the most powerful Avengers until he was killed in Infinity War at the hands of Wanda and then Thanos, which was a stupid idea as we saw thanks to Ultron Z's with Thanos in the What If series on Disney+, where using the Mind Stone, Ultron just literally tore Thanos in half, which is probably what Vision could have done, resulting in one of the most frustrating moments of the entire MCU to me. But oh well, what are you gonna do? But yeah, I think that with the Mind Stone he is certainly powerful, but his reluctance to use it to kill Thanos puts him higher on the list, as well as, you know, the whole being mostly dead thing. Halfway through in at number 5, Valeria Richards. Valeria Richards is the second son of Dr. Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, and Susan Richards, aka the Invisible Woman, who did serve as Avengers for a couple missions. Due to her parents being exposed to cosmic radiation and being conceived in the negative zone, it caused her birth to be traumatic. But thanks to her uncle, Dr. Doom, he saved her life using a combination of science and magic. She was born a standard human and developed a genius-level intellect like her father. But as an unborn infant, when she was approaching term, she began to emit bursts of deadly radiation that threatened both her and her mother. Despite bringing in fellow scientists and radiation experts like Bruce Banner, Michael Morbius, and Otto Octavius, Reed Richards was unable to save his daughter, who appeared to be stillborn. Appearances can be deceiving though. Franklin Richards, the couple's first child, felt a deep loss over his sister because, you know, he didn't have a sister anymore. Unconsciously though, he secretly used his psionic powers to transport this daughter to an alternate reality. After Franklin's cosmic powers were depleted during a battle to save all reality, Valeria reverted to an unborn child within Sue's womb. So all of a sudden, she was pregnant with Valeria again. Yeah, Sue then came to term, but again her life was threatened by bursts of radiation from the child. However, this time Johnny Storm enlisted the aid of Dr. Doom, who was able to save her, but not without a price. And at 4, Modi Thorson. In the Ultimate Universe of Earth 1610, when Thor traveled to Valhalla to retrieve the soul of Valkyrie, Hela appeared and told him if he managed to defeat her army that she would revive Valkyrie, but for a price. Thor remained in Valhalla once Valkyrie was revived, but when he requested to be sent back to Earth, Hela once again agreed, but for a price. This time though, it was a child. Thor agreed. Well, meanwhile on Earth, Amora showed Valkyrie a vision of Thor and Hela making love. Valkyrie didn't realize that he had to do it though, to get back to Earth, but whatever. Thor, after the deed, asked to be sent back to Earth, but Hela requested another price. In a rage, Thor drew his sword and was going to kill Hela before seeing that she was already pregnant. The child, named Modi, eventually joined with the Children of Tomorrow, and when the Children of Tomorrow invaded Asgard, Thor locked Modi in a room without doors to keep him safe, and gave him Mjolnir so that when he was worthy, he would have a way out. Weeks later, but in that room it was years, and after the children had destroyed Washington, an adult Modi broke free of the room, with Mjolnir in his hand. Disguised as the mysterious Mr. Moraz, Modi attempted to usher in another American Civil War by supporting various warring factions in America in order to destroy the country and create a new Asgard from its ashes. He eventually was killed by Thor after using the Mind Stone to control Thor's mind and siding with Hydra, so yeah, not a good kid overall, but still pretty damn powerful. In at 3, Red She-Hulk. A mysterious female version of Red Hulk first appeared when the Red Hulk had gathered a team of mercenaries to hunt down Domino. After this group, called Code Red, not sponsored by Mountain Dew, found Domino, Wolverine slashed his claws across Red Hulk's face, blinding him until his healing factor restored his eyesight. Wolverine was about to deliver the killing blow to Red Hulk when Red She-Hulk appeared, blindsiding him. Red She-Hulk protected Red Hulk long enough in challenging Wolverine. However, just as Red Hulk began to trust Red She-Hulk, she double-crossed him and plunged Elektra's stolen Psi into his neck. Code Red were gathered in the sewers and awaited orders from Samson. Their encounter ended with Red She-Hulk kicking Red Hulk off the Empire State Building. She was then captured by Hank Pym, but her identity was finally revealed when she was stabbed with a sword by Scar and reverted to her human form, revealing her to be Betty, Thaddeus Ross, aka Red Hulk's daughter. And Red She-Hulk has gone toe-to-toe with Hulk in a battle that resulted in both of them dying before being brought back by a wish that Hulk had made earlier. So yeah, pretty powerful. See, I know if someone has tussled with the Hulk to put him higher on this list now since y'all can't let go. But ultimately, and at number 2, Scar. Scar was the progeny of Hulk and Sierra the Old Strong. After Ciara's death, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, a cocoon containing Scar fell into the Lake of Fire. After a period of time, Scar emerged from this cocoon, appearing to be the age of a human boy. A year later, he appeared to have grown into a young adult, and spent time in the swamps with old Sam, who attempted to raise, teach, and guide him after he discovered him shortly after the Shadow People burned tattoos into his skin. It took old Sam months to get him to wear a loincloth and speak, although to be fair, it would have also taken him a few months to get me to wear a loincloth. As the son of the Hulk though, Scar presumably possesses the capacity for vast, if not limitless levels of physical strength among other capabilities, ones which are either fueled by intense anger like his father or via channeling the old power. Once having absorbed 100 trillion tons of kinetic energy from a city to fight the Hulk, he sent Juggernaut flying into space with ease, punching beings miles away, just a lot. And not only that, but thanks to his mother, Scar also possesses the powers of the Shadow People, known as the Old Power, which allows him to connect to and manipulate the planet's energies, basically giving him lava and earthbending skills. Finally, in at number 1, Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards is the son of Reed and Sue Richards of the world-renowned Fantastic Four, who, like I said, were at one point working alongside the Avengers, and who were deemed Avengers for a couple missions, so I'm counting it. Basically, the freaking Celestials have deemed this kid to be beyond Omega level on the scale of mutant-based powers, so yeah. A future version of Franklin came back to our present and managed to bend Galactus to his will, making Galactus Franklin's herald, which I think speaks for itself. This kid is able to tear the universe apart with a single thought, probably making him the scariest damn toddler on the face of this planet. And that's coming from someone who already thinks toddlers are scary, okay? You should have seen that one kid who tried to stab me with safety scissors. It was certainly an interesting Tuesday afternoon. And in the book History of the Marvel Universe, Franklin Richards is revealed to apparently survive the end of his universe and pass on to the next one, like Galactus did, which is freaking insane. In at 10, Ian Rogers. When Steve Rogers got trapped in Dimension Z, he rescued a baby boy while he was trapped there. Since time moves faster in that dimension though, he ended up raising the boy for over 10 years. Sharon Carter ended up raising him for the remainder of his childhood when she was also trapped in Dimension Z after going there to rescue Steve. The boy was the son of Armin Zola, but he saw Steve Rogers and Sharon Carter as his parents. His birth name was Leopold Zola, but he goes by Ian Rogers now, the name that his true father gave him. By the time he left Dimension Z, Ian was a full-grown adult. He then took on the name Nomad and partnered with Sam Wilson. And at 9, Francis Barton. On Earth 555326, also known as the Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow universe, Francis Barton was Clint Barton's son, who raised him to be a hero and helped the rebels known as the Scavengers, and Francis led them around Machine City after his father's death. When the children of the other deceased Avengers, James Rogers, Torrin, Hank Pym Jr., and Osri, arrived, he saved them from Ultron's forces, and James and his siblings followed Francis and the Scavengers to their home base. He told them that he was the surviving son of the original Hawkeye. Then Francis became infuriated when he realized that he wasn't the last Avenger, and angrily wondered the whereabouts of the others during his time of desperate survival. James reasoned that they didn't know of his existence, much like their fathers did, and James, the son of Captain America, and Francis often argued. At first he seemed cold and indifferent to his new friends, but as time passed, he showed himself to be just as much of a jokester and a flirt as Clint ever was. Which is kinda weird because they're kids. And at 8, Katie Summers. After the Earth was destroyed by a Celestial, survivors moved into another planet. Here, Havoc and Wasp get married and have a child, Catherine Summers. However, she was born a human, not a mutant, and thus would be subjected to persecution in an all-mutant world. Consequently, her existence was kept secret to only her parents and her godfather, Hank McCoy. Years later, Kang appeared and forced Havoc to follow his plan by taking Katie away. Given her connection to the alpha-level mutant Havoc though, if they ever decided to retcon Katie, we can guess that at some point she'd develop a similar power set to Havoc. So if they ever decide to retcon her, she'll be pretty powerful. Havoc absorbs ambient cosmic energy into his cells of his body and processes it into plasma. This results in control over an extremely powerful sort of destructive force. And at times he's not entirely able to control this ability, which sometimes makes him a danger to those around him unless he wears a special containment suit to assist him. Havoc's body is also constantly in the process of absorbing cosmic radiation, so he can basically do it whenever. And given that superhero kids are usually more powerful than their parents, if they ever decide to retcon her, this is gonna be scary, okay? Look, I know that she's a human, but sometimes humans are the most powerful beings. She's also number 8, so chill. And at 7, Osri T'Challa. Osri is the son of Black Panther and Storm. He was taken to safety by Iron Man along with James Rogers, Torrin, and Henry Pym Jr. to keep them all safe from Ultron. Osri, along with his other siblings, only knew of the Avengers through Tony's tales of their former glory days. And as the son of the Black Panther and Storm, Osri inherited their powers and abilities of the heart-shaped herb from his father, enhanced speed, agility, strength, endurance, healing, and senses. He also inherited the powers and abilities of electrokinesis from his mother. One day while he was playing hide and seek with Pym, the Vision arrived at the refuge. Tony tells everyone to wait in James's room until he tells them otherwise. While Osri is fine with waiting, the others aren't, and he fails at convincing them to wait as Tony instructed. When he failed, he and his siblings found a secret entrance to a repair bay under their parents' grave markers. As they searched, they found a room full of Iron Man style robots who resembled each of their parents. While James and Torrin lingered, Osri and Pym kept moving and managed to find Tony and the strange robot, which is actually the Vision. And then all the Avenger robots end up waking up, and then they go to fight Ultron as their programming intended, so then there's a whole kerfuffle. It's when they meet Francis Barton. And it's 6, Torrin. On Earth 555326, Torrin was the daughter of Thor and Sif. Torrin was taken to safety by Tony Stark alongside the other children to keep them safe from Ultron, and Torrin, like the others, only knew of the Avengers through Tony's stories. She could oftentimes be both arrogant and prideful, but I mean, so could her father. But she has become humble through the learning and of the coping with her mortality, because she is actually mortal. After the arrival of the Vision, Torrin and her siblings got too curious for their own good and revealed the secret entrance, which I just explained. While with James, she found the Iron Avengers, and then they accidentally activated their robots, and their automatic programming sent them to intercept Ultron, in which the Iron Avengers attacked. But the Iron Avengers were assimilated by Ultron, so that's gonna be fun. Look, she may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but at least she's powerful. She's Thor's daughter. Halfway through into number 5, Groot. Okay, so this is a pretty weird one, I have to admit, but technically speaking, baby Groot is the offspring of Groot. And while yes, he is also just Groot, baby and teen Groot are younger versions of Groot, and that's basically what a child is. Just a younger version of yourself. And while this may have been a asexually produced offspring, so what? This counts in my book. And while you may consider Groot a guardian of the galaxy and not an Avenger, he served as an Avenger for a time in both the comics and in the MCU. So you can back off, boy. Okay? This is a very meta number, I know, but we've included clones on lists like these before. This is close enough, it's fine with me. Kids are basically clones, we've talked about actual clones, so deal with it. And at 4, Sarah Rogers. In an alternate world where the heroes and villains assembled for the Secret Wars never left Battle World, the location of the conflict, the combatants called a truce and settled down to raise families. Sarah Rogers was actually the daughter of Steve Rogers, Captain America, and the X-Men Rogue. In this reality, Rogue was referred to as Carol, indicating that the stolen psyche of the Avenger Carol Danvers was in control of Rogue's body, and given Sarah's existence, had learned to control Rogue's powers enough to conceive a child. Malefactor Vincent Von Doom, the son of Dr. Doom, tried to take over the battle world and return to Earth in order to follow in his father's footsteps and conquer it, because of course. But Sarah led her fellow young heroes to stop Vincent, and along the way grabbed Mjolnir, proving her worthiness to wield the enchanted hammer. So, as a kid, yeah, you're on the list, don't worry. And at 3, Hulk Gang. The Hulk Gang is a gang of hillbilly Hulks who are the result of Hulk impregnating his first cousin's She-Hulk, though not willingly, might I add. Most of the Hulk Gang members though are grandchildren of Bruce Banner, who have become run-of-the-mill thugs, beating or killing people when they don't pay their rent on time. When the Hulk Gang found Logan and he didn't have his money to pay the rent for his farm, its members Bobby Joe, Charlie, and Otis Banner paid a visit to him and punished him for missing a payment. Shortly before leaving though, they said that he had to pay double next month, otherwise they would kill him and his family. However, while Logan was away delivering a package with Hawkeye to get the money that he actually owed them, the Hulk Gang got bored and murdered his family. Once Logan returned home and learned about what happened in his absence from his neighbor Abraham, he went after the Hulk Gang and killed all of the members that he actually encountered, including Bobby Joe, Charlie, Otis, Rufus, Woody, Bo, Elrod, Eustace, and Luke Banner. So attaboy Logan. But ultimately, in at number 2, Vivian Vision. Viv was a synthezoid created by the Vision in his process to humanize himself through the creation of a family. The brainwaves of Viv and her twin brother Vin come from the combination of the brain patterns of Vision and Virginia, Viv and Vin's mother and Vision's wife. The Visions moved to Arlington, Virginia in order to facilitate Vision becoming the Avengers' White House liaison, but I also kind of find that funny. Vision, Virginia, Viv, and Vin moved to Virginia. Come on. The family though became instant celebrities with their neighbors, constantly seeking pictures and then them posting them online. This caught the attention of Eric Williams, who became upset that Vision would create a family that appeared to be happy, when the Williams family wasn't, which, I mean, like, what? That's like getting mad at an Instagram model for faking her life. As well as the fact that the Vision's brainwaves were taken from his brother Simon in the first place. Both Viv and Finn attended school at the Alexander Hamilton High School in Fairfax, but they were assigned different schedules to help them assimilate with their classmates. Considering how I previously said that Ultron assimilated a whole load of robots, you kinda have to admit the word assimilate their classmates is kinda setting off a few red flags here. And finally, in at number 1, Lyra. The daughter of Thundra, the Empress of the United Sisterhood, and the Incredible Hulk on Earth 8009, Lyra was gifted with the strength of her parents and trained as an elite warrior for the Sisterhood in their fight against men. But, unlike the other Gamma mutants, Lyra secretly grew weaker the angrier she got. Lyra was called by the Gynosure to head a secret mission, one not even her select band of warrior compatriots were aware of. The Sisterhood's cradle was malfunctioning, causing defective births, and without a replacement circuitry, it would be the end of the Sisterhood's ability to replenish their numbers, eventually leading to their extinction. Lyra was armed with Boudica, a wristwatch with an artificial intelligence linked to both the Sisterhood and Gynosure at all times, and sent to the men's cradle to steal the appropriate parts to repair their own cradle. When a traitor turned on Lyra at the request of the Gynosure, the replacement parts were destroyed in their fight. Lyra returned to Gynosure to confront her for her treachery, but was then sent to Earth 616 to seek out the great Norman Osborn and breed with him. Man, Norman Osborn, man. Every time.